My computer's a little. All right, my computer's a little slow this morning, but welcome everybody to the show. Thank you for watching live, or thank you for watching on the follow up. I'm Chap with PowerFest. This is my partner Lewis Thomas from PowerFest and Quita from Baltimore Homes. How you guys doing tonight? We're hoping to get Mr. Youssef from McCullough Homes on tonight, and he's having some technical difficulties that we'll work out by the next time we do a show. So tonight, my neighbor, he asked me to introduce him as Drek, which is his cryptocurrency name. He's a cryptocurrency expert, so if you have any questions, he is the man to ask. He works for National Guard and some kind of, well, I'll let him tell it when he gets on the show. But before we get started, how was your guys' weekend, Miss Quita? I know how Luz was.
My weekend was awesome. I hung out with my family. I went to a couple vendor pop-ups and supported some small Black businesses. And, people were off today. I worked for myself, so that didn't really mean anything. But yeah, it was a good weekend. And congratulations to all the people that get to celebrate their 3-day weekend. What about you? What did you all get into for 4th of July or 2nd Juneteenth? You're on mute, Chat.
I was going to say I would like to go first and then let Luke go because my most exciting thing I did this weekend. I know Thursday the mayor announced they weren't doing fireworks, and we had planned on going over Luce. Got it back on the roof, and we're going to watch the fireworks. And fortunately for Baltimore, we don't care what the mayor says. We climbed up on that roof and we did a 360, and in every direction, every neighborhood was popping up. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. That was the highlight, man. I spent the weekend with the kids. But the highlight was we spent the evening last night on Lou's deck watching the fireworks pop off everywhere from Douglas Homes to Towson to everywhere. You can see it.
Yeah, and for me, I've been here. I live near Hopkins Hospital. I've been hearing fireworks since Juneteenth. Like they've been going off some Saturdays, some Fridays till 4 a.m. Has nothing to do with Juneteenth or July 4th. Just fireworks everywhere. So I'm hoping by the end of July they will settle down.
Maybe.
Hello, guys.
When people run out of fireworks,
what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Right.
Hey, so Dayshawn Brooks, Coppin State Eagle, is back. And this is my acquaintance Trek. He is a cryptocurrency expert. I know some of the Donnie. Hey, look, for someone close to my age, I won't put you out there. You know a lot more than I do, and some of the people that watch and the publisher are kind of asking if we get somebody on who can talk about it. So you are the man tonight. If you're gonna introduce yourself.
All right. Hola. My name is Trek with 2 Ks. I have been in this crypto thing for a while. When I say a while, I'm in the first decade. So like I'm talking about like the 2013 period. I've done the whole thing of hodling. I tried my hand at trading. And I used to write for a company in the space. I wanted to be a self-taught coder at one point. The funny thing about, for those of us who got in like in the first decade, you eventually learn like, hey, what your thing is. If you're a trader, you're a trader. If you're a dev, you're a dev. If you're just somebody who's doing the whole hodl long position thing, that's what you do. I don't know what questions y'all got. I don't know how technical or non-technical it will be, but I will do my best to answer. Like I said, I've been around for a bit, so,
Always forget to unmute myself. What are the lingo you're saying, a dev, a quote? Like, what are these? Like, explain the terms you just used.
Okay, so, oh, wow. All right. The easiest comparison that I could give for what is called the crypto space or like the crypto community, you have the umbrella term of I'm in crypto. And in the beginning, think about it in terms of like hip hop, right? Where hip hop had 4 elements to it. And the b-boy, the DJ, the MC, and the graffiti artist, right? And so in the crypto space, in the beginning part, it wasn't initially put together that way, but the community from the beginning kind of developed into its own thing, have 4 core elements as how most of us would look at it. So the devs are the people who are the coders. They're the ones that like actually make the software that does this thing called internet money, right? Then you have depending on who you talk to and what their background is, you have people who are hodlers, which is a acronym for hold on for dear life, which is something that basically happened because somebody misspelt the word hold in a tweet, right? And what you have more now happening is, and this kind of jumped around in like 2018, where it's like, well, no, they're not hodlers. We're not hodlers. We're long-term investors, or we're investors, because then you started having more Wall Street talk come into the space. So hodlers, investors, traders. So traders kind of break down into 2 categories, right? Most people are familiar with like Wall Street trading, stocks and bonds and stuff like that. And trading in crypto is a very different animal because there's no solid like metrics or to the space as far as how people invest or why people invest. The market runs 24 hours a day. If you're in New York, the stock market closes at 5 p.m. You have bank holidays and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't exist in the crypto space. Once you go to sleep in New York, California, Colorado, Florida, wherever, guess what? Asian markets are up. So Singapore's happening, Hong Kong's happening, China's happening, Japan's happening, Australia's happening. It's a 24-hour cycle. So the traders boil down to people who are swing traders, and then you have like day trader folks. Swing trader folks are the people who are like, I might hold on to something for a minute. If the price goes up, I'm going to dump it and then, take the cash out and have a bag, right? And when I say have a bag, that means they took profits out of whatever that asset, whatever crypto token thing it was that they put money in. Day traders are people who are very dedicated to watching the markets. They pay attention to a lot of the news, and they do all of that stuff called TA, which is technical analysis, and it requires a lot of time. And a lot of the folks who are coming into the space now don't really, in my opinion, very small opinion, grasp how much work goes into day trading, as opposed to just doing something like cost averaging in. Cost averaging in is basically like you can do it. You do the same thing in stocks, right? Where if you say, hey, once a month, I'm going to spend $100 and buy blah, blah, blah stock or X amount of stocks. You can do the same thing in the crypto space, where you say, hey, every 2 weeks, I'll buy $50 worth of whatever the crypto thing is that you buy. And as long as you do it on a consistent basis, which is every 2 weeks over a longer period of time, statistically speaking, you will have a better cost of getting in than somebody who's like trying to do the price doing this, and they're trying to follow the price every time it goes down enough for them. Or if it gets too high, they don't want to buy it anymore because now it's too expensive. So what traders who are not necessarily looking to do the everyday watching the markets, or people who are looking to, quote, invest in, what they'll do is what is called cost averaging in. So what did I say? Traders, devs, hodlers. Oh, man. What was the other one? Oh, miners. Okay, so miners are the folks who decide that aside from the reward that you get for running these machines that provide security and validate the transactions of this thing called the blockchain, right? When you hear people say stuff like, the blockchain got hacked, or the blockchain is not public or it's private, what is getting lost in buzzwords is there are different types of blockchains. There's not one blockchain. There are different types, and the different types are on a scale of I'm jumping a lot of information, so you gotta like stop me and say, hey, what does that part mean? Because I've been in long enough that I take certain things for granted. So let me jump back one and just say, you have the miners. They're the people who run these machines that help secure the blockchain and like validate the transactions. Okay. And what that means is if Chap sends money to Lewis, there's a machine in the background that is tracking the transaction and says, okay, crypto went from account A into account B. That's what these minor things do. And that's kind of the basic of that particular part. So again, 4 elements in the crypto space, as at least what it used to be like. So the miners, the devs, the traders, and the hodlers. Nowadays, because of more invention, more innovation, more upgrading into technology, you have people who are doing things in the space that we didn't even think of, like, let's say 6-8 years ago. So, yeah. So pick at me for which part that I said that was like over, and then I'll jump back.
Well, I know personally I was familiar with the with miners, right? So what little research I did as things were evolving and trying to pay attention, but not really. I knew that you could set up computers which were specifically geared towards just gathering whatever information from the internet and mining, like little by little, just kind of trickling together pieces of a Bitcoin. And if you set it up correctly, then. But I mean, from what I read early on, the power they were using, it was like you weren't even covering the electricity that it was taking to run these machines initially to mine. So it was like at the time when I was reading, I was reading about people solving that issue where what is a setup which will make you a profit, no matter how small, it'll make a supplemental income and not just be a burden. But how we're fast forwarding, even if it was a burden back then, because of how specifically Bitcoin has evolved, it was probably a good investment. But then I know that a lot of the kids that I see in the rec on the daily are out of like the younger guys in their 20s and stuff. And Dason may probably bring some good insight on this. They talk about like everybody has Doge. That's a pretty common one that I hear. And I was very surprised actually. I was at the farm store, which for the young folks is the Royal Farms. And next to the ATM machine, they had a Bitcoin machine. And I was like, I almost tried to take money out with my card. And I was like, wait, this is a Bitcoin machine. What just happened? Just came out of nowhere.
I don't know at what point, but so you have a couple of things happening as far as the mining stuff, and then as far as access to, right? So as far as the mining stuff goes, in the beginning, I know you're in not Warcraft. God, and my daughter plays the game. Minecraft. Thank you.
Yeah, Minecraft. Yeah.
Right. So in the beginning, huh?
So you're putting me out there. It's a child's game, but I do enjoy it.
Trust me, it for as much fun as people make of quote video games and child's game, I can tell you that it is not necessarily little kids who are coming up with the business models, who are coming up with X amount of new ways to expand the experience. Like for example, the people who made Atari, like X amount of those dudes are in their 50s and are probably 60s, right? Those got X amount of those people work for NASA now. And then you have them working on other video game platforms in relation to, trying to cross over where you take esports stuff into the, but using blockchain to help, let's say, expand the options of players within and rewards and stuff like that. But my point about the mining side was, in the beginning, it was a lot simpler. It was a lot cheaper. You could do CPUs, which was your basic laptop, which was your basic tower that you had sitting, in your room. And of course, innovations happen. People ask questions on how can we make it better? How can I get the quote advantage by having a faster computer? And eventually we got to where these things are called ASIC miners now. And that, yes, those are expensive. Yes, they definitely do generate a sizable reward, but the competition at that level for the reward of whatever crypto it is, and we'll use Bitcoin as the example because it's the bigger name. It's a lot more competitive now than it used to be. And so as far as the thing that you said about Dogecoin, yes, is easier to mine right now. And I don't want to jump into like tokenomics, but there's a whole thing about the way that works that I know I wouldn't be one to mess with it. And I'm not saying to other people who are curious about mining or who are curious about Dogecoin that you cannot find some level of profit. It's just one of the things that I know I don't mess with in that regards. The space is a funny thing. Again, this isn't Wall Street. This isn't stocks. This isn't bonds. It's a very, very different animal. You don't just, pick it up on a Sunday and then you're an expert by Wednesday. For all the things that you think you can understand by watching YouTube videos or reading Medium or Substack over a weekend or maybe a month, like it is only a small portion of what then happens when you try to apply what you picked up in those different sources, right? Because now you got to get into the real part of it, or the real world part of it, where you're putting in money that you worked at your regular job, and now you're trying to convert it over into crypto, or you're trying to upskill yourself by learning how to code. You're trying your hand at trading, and it's an up and down process. And if you get frightened easy, this space can definitely do that to you, because you can have a 30 to a 50 to a 70% correction. Like that's what this stuff does. That's where we are right now, more than 10 years later.
I was going to say I will comment. Just out of curiosity, I like I said, I wouldn't even say I dabble, but I do try to read a little bit and try to be mindful of what's going on. For instance, on Cash App, you can just straight up take the money on your Cash App and buy Bitcoin. And I think 2-3 weeks ago it was up around like $54,000 a unit or a coin, I guess. And now 3 weeks later, it's down to like 30. It's almost half. It's like 34,000 or something like that. So, I'll just share my experience with my little, very minimal experience with it. I guess the other thing I know about it is back when. So I used to be an avid poker player. I played online a lot. Actually, a down payment for my home we made with money that I won online. I used to do free rolls and build your bankroll up. I ended up making a down payment on the house we're in now, playing poker. At some point, the federal government stopped all that in America because they couldn't tax it, they couldn't control it, so it stopped through the online gaming. But what happened was sites started to immediately pop back up using the cryptocurrency, which I didn't understand, so I just did not get involved. But like I said, besides seeing it at the farm store, seeing it on Cash App, seeing people use it sideways to circumnavigate the gambling laws. That's really my experience with it. So I don't know if you guys have questions or things. I know you know something about it. That's why I want to get you in on this.
All right.
Trek.
I didn't even know you can buy. I didn't even know you can buy cryptocurrency on Cash App.
Yes, you can buy as low as $1 every day.
I thought you could just invest on Cash App.
No, Cash App is not Robinhood. Cash App is not Webull. Do not confuse them.
I know Robinhood has cryptocurrency you can buy into, because I have cryptocurrency on Robinhood.
No. Okay, let me.
I have Bitcoin and I have something else on Robinhood.
All right, let me provide you some clarity about what you put your money in and then what you actually have. Okay? Robinhood and Webull run a model where they are custodial. I can't even call them custodial wallets. So what they do is they go to the OTC market for crypto, for Bitcoin in particular, and Dogecoin, I think, is on Robinhood, and they buy it. Okay. And then what they do is they say, hey, users, do you want to get some of this crypto? And y'all go, yeah, I want $50 worth. Yeah, I want $100 worth. All right, cool. Send us the fiat and we'll say you have $100 worth on our ledger in our system, that you have $100 worth of Bitcoin or Dogecoin. You do not own anything. Why? Because you do not have the private keys to the wallet that actually holds, or excuse me, the private key to the wallet that they have that actually gives access to the crypto. You have a IOU. You do not own crypto. You have a IOU that says you have $100 worth of Bitcoin, worth of Dogecoin. Now, when you go to Cash App, what happens is Cash App does the same thing in regards to they will go to the OTC market, which is the over the counter. And that's them going to the crypto exchanges, and they will buy large volumes of Bitcoin. You then go, hey, I want to get $1 worth. I want to get $100 worth. I want to get $2,500 worth. They go, bet, no problem. Send us the fiat. Now what happens is they send you X amount of crypto in what they have as a pool of crypto wallets, right? Now, the distinction here is you don't get that on Robinhood. You don't get that on Webull, okay? What then can happen, because now you have a wallet that you have access to, you can then send it to your own private wallet, right? And so this is the distinction. Robinhood and Webull don't actually allow you that feature right there. All you have on there
to your bank account, directly to your wallet,
to your own crypto wallet, You cannot take any crypto off of Robinhood or Webull. Now, maybe they might have some idea to do this down the road, but I can tell you right now, that's not what they do. So you don't actually own crypto. You have a fiat. Fiat is USD. Fiat is any government currency. All right. So you have a USD value that represents X amount of Bitcoin or Dogecoin, whichever one is that you have on Robinhood or Webull. You don't actually have it as far as you have a third party crypto wallet on their platform, and then you cannot exit with it. I'll give you another comparison because it gets kind of dicey, right?
Wait, Trek, before you go on, are you saying so? The value that Dayson has is only tradable or valuable in that particular app. He can't take that investment or whatever the proper language is to the open market, so to speak, and trade those Bitcoins for services or activities or whatever, because it's with he doesn't have the key that would unlock the ability to trade where it basically has more value because it can buy or be exchanged for other things. Is that kind of true? Okay. Basically. All right. Go ahead. Next point.
So since we're stopping people, let me stop y'all again. First of all, Trek, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I mean, this has been already enlightening. The first 15 minutes of the show. This is really cool. And obviously you're an expert at this. I had a couple questions for you because I am thinking, when I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking about people who may be tuning in right now that have not a clue what Bitcoin is, what it even is. And believe it or not, there are people on this earth that don't know what it is. So 3-part question. 1, do you have an elevator pitch, about what Bitcoin really is to kind of get us up to speed? 2, the original premise of the US dollar was to be backed by silver. We know it's not the case anymore, but how does Bitcoin compare to that? And 3, if I'm just regular Joe Blow, what is the value or what is the advantages for me to get into the whole Bitcoin game?
Okay. So, it's funny. Like, I've been at this for a while, and if you'd have asked me this like maybe 4 years ago, I'd have gave you a different answer than now. And only because I've seen how the space has moved and changed, and the folks that, and the mindset of the folks that I see coming in the second decade is different because of experience compared to the folks who were in the first decade. So I'll say this elevator pitch as far as Bitcoin is concerned. I'm not going to tell you that you should put your money in Bitcoin. What I will tell you is that the medium of money is changing. The technology that we understand of how money is transmitted, stored, and used is changing. The ideas of what we have of being able to, quote, store value, case in point, a checking account, a CD, the crypto space is throwing all of that stuff out the window. Your bank will give you what, 0.1% on a savings account? You got things going on like APY and yield farming that's giving you 20%, 80%, 300%. Like, it's a whole different ball game in this part of the space. And I'm gonna jump to the last question. The average Joe, and why you need to pay attention to this. Because eventually it will be on your phone. Eventually it will be a part of your payroll. Eventually it will be how you spend your currency to buy your house. Or better yet to say, the technology behind it will be what you have to use at some point. You might not know that it's the technology because, you know, the version that Chase sells to you or the version that Howard Bank uses doesn't mention anything about blockchain or it being a cryptocurrency, but it will definitely be involved in your life. There was in the first decade, right? In the first, like, there was a whole thing on how, when it came to like, well, you know, how do we get more people to understand or learn about crypto? And it was like, oh, well, it's the education thing. And you have to get over these barriers to educate people. Like, the reality is, right, you can do all the education you want. When it comes to technology, X amount of people are going to get it, but sad to say, the vast majority will not. In this particular situation, and we compared the technologies as far as, you know, there was the .com era and how many people like got on board and figured out like, hey, let me learn coding. Hey, let me learn how to, you know, do this Linux or early Linux DOS stuff. And I forgot the name of the other program. But this era, like, it is unbelievable how much free information there is out there. But people prefer convenience over what's the word I want to go with? Understanding. And I'm not saying it on the level of, hey, you need to learn C++ and you got to learn JavaScript and you need to be that level of somebody who knows about this space. I'm not saying that at all, because trust and believe, as somebody who try to be a self-taught coder, I can tell you it is not easy to learn coding and it takes time. But to at least have some level of understanding that, hey, the medium of money is changing because technology is changing. And I'll make it more contextual. At one point, we didn't have electronics because we didn't have electricity to the level that we have it now. So everything was mechanical. And then before it was mechanical, it was like, hey, you got the chicken, they make eggs. I got these goats and these cows, they do milk. We're going to barter it out, right? And then at a certain point, technology started kicking in because we figured out that we wanted a singular unit of account. Well, how much is a gallon of milk if you compare it to like what, 2 dozen eggs, half a dozen eggs? So we need another medium in between to be like, what is that unit of account? The technology changed because we were able to say, hey, let's do this thing called smelting, which is how you make like the gold and silver coins and all of that, right? Technology upgraded again, and we go, all right, well, we don't want to walk around with these bags of gold and silver. It's heavy, it's cumbersome. I don't feel like getting robbed and all of the other stuff. And then you got things going on with what the government's doing with things. So we get into paper notes, right? So that's your dollar bills. Promissory notes is what they originally start out as. This piece of paper says it's worth blah, blah, blah amount of money in the bank. You can go where you want to spend it at. You can go to some countries in Eastern Europe and you can find somebody who's like old enough to remember when they were spending gold on stuff. You could do it here in the States, but like we don't have as many more seasoned elders as they do in Europe and stuff, or even in Africa for that matter, right? Then technology increases again. Technology innovates and upgrades again, right? And we get to like electronics. Now you're talking about, hey, you have ACHs, which is like the all clearinghouse and what the banks do to move money back and forth in their system. And then they bring it out to the public. And it's like, oh, credit cards. The boomer generation brought in credit cards. Our kids, well, I know I'm old enough. My kids is old enough. Like, they don't know nothing about gold. They don't know nothing about bartering. They know, hey, if I tap the phone with the NFC technology in it, guess what? I just paid whatever it was I wanted to pay for, and I'm good. You can go other places where it's like, all right, I don't got to worry about tapping. All I got to do is just take the picture of the QR code. Boop, boop. All right, man, we good. Technology upgraded. This is just another level of upgrade in technology. Again, I can't tell you Bitcoin is going to be the end all be all. I do understand enough to say the technology that underlines all of this crypto talk, that's not going anywhere.
Trek, as you were talking, it made me think about how basically like the Bitcoin kind of, or not even Bitcoin, but blockchain or whatever the proper technology, it's kind of getting rid of those conversion rates. Like as somebody who travels, like you said, when I would go to Spain, like as soon as I got there, I would have to exchange my US dollars, which are worthless in Spain, for their currency, which I can use, you know, at most stores, da 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 da. And actually, it's not that it's worthless, but their money, like the value trade, that has to happen. It doesn't sound like if I'm bartering or working with blockchain with somebody in Singapore that we have to go through that. It sounds like the money is already equivalent. Does that make sense? And is that true?
It makes sense what you're saying, but that's not how it works. Okay, so as there are different types of blockchains, right? There are different types of cryptocurrencies, aka tokens, right? And so, for example, 1 Bitcoin equals, I want to say, probably a couple hundred or dozen Dogecoin, right? Because the value of 1 Dogecoin, I think, is somewhere around 100 or 200 or something right now. But the value of 1 Bitcoin is in the 30s, right? So, funny enough, the crypto space is working just like how you have the currency thing going on, where if you have the yen, the peso, the ruble, the dinar, the USD, the pound, whatever, like they each have their own thing, and then you have to convert them over. Same thing within the crypto thing.
Okay, and then in crypto, but you speak in the language of the coin. The coin is the conversion, the value.
The coin or token,
Mm-hmm.
and they're 2 different things, but I'm gonna just say coin and token, 2 different things. So for example, I can say to somebody, hey, I'm selling this, I'm selling my services and I will take Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Guap coin. Now, the price of what I'm gonna say this, the equivalent of saying I cost $500 an hour. Let's go with 100. $100 an hour in the USD value, right? The American dollar value is $100 an hour. If I say, what's my price in Bitcoin? And this is the other thing that makes the crypto space different. It's not whole numbers. You can do less than a penny. You can go 8 digits out past the dot, right? And understand, 2 digits past the dot puts you at less than a penny. Okay, so example of, if I said my services cost 100 an hour, this is what it is. The Bitcoin would be like what is that? 0.00000001. The ETH would be like 0.0, let's say 125 or something like that. What I'm trying to convey is that they're not all equal to each other in regards to the same like value price, right? And then so that's one side of crypto, and then you have this other side of crypto about stable coins. I can't tell you what's a good amount as a startup investment. I don't know what your pockets look like. I don't know what your financial situation is. I don't know what your risk tolerance is. I can't be like, oh yeah, $1,000, 100%. Like, I don't know what your situation is to say something like that.
But could somebody get started with like $25, or is that a waste of their time?
You can buy $1 worth of Bitcoin on Cash App every day. That is the minimum. You can buy $1 worth. And as I explained before, how they do their stuff on the back end, their system works where you can buy $1 worth, right? And
$1 worth, and you get the key thing that you were saying, right?
So what happens with Cash App, you don't get the key. They're a third-party wallet. But the difference is that you are able to move the asset off of their system or out of their wallet into your own personal wallet. With Robinhood and Webull, you can't move the crypto off. That's not how they set the system up. So this is why when we say in the space like, hey, you don't own the crypto if you're using Webull or Robinhood, it's because you can't move it off. All right. And it also gets a little bit more dicey on the end of when it is a third-party wallet. And this includes Cash App, right? Cash App is arguably the easier one to do right now. There is also Coinbase, but on the end of the things that I'm aware of and how I used to deal with Coinbase and like how they carry themselves as a business, I don't recommend Coinbase. That's not to say that you can't go out there and use Coinbase, but do understand Coinbase comes with a certain level of risk in regards to if the market moves too fast as far as up or down, Coinbase stops transactions. And I will say Cash App can do the same thing. Again, I don't know what your risk tolerance is. Sorry, Leroy Wilson. But my point in regards to the distinction between Cash App and Coinbase, you can move the crypto off of both of these wallets. Both of these wallets have the ability, though, both of these companies have the ability to be able to stop you from moving it. Okay. So far, since Cash App has gotten into the crypto space, because Jack Dorsey is a very big proponent of Bitcoin, they haven't had the same track record as Coinbase when it comes to market volatility of price movement, as well as X amount of other questionable business practices that they do when it comes to the customer service side, as Coinbase has. So far, the track record is looking okay. The customer service side is looking okay, and it's X amount more easier than comparable or easier than Coinbase. It's about right there. But again, It's just because there's things that I'm aware of with Coinbase. I don't recommend Coinbase to people. Not to say you can't go out and use it.
I think that's helpful information for a novice. Go ahead, Louis.
But you do recommend Cash App?
I do. I use Cash App. Okay. You willing to start with 300? All right. Cool. Like, okay.
I see you, Leroy.
Let me give you a scenario of something, right? Possible scenario of what Leroy could do with 300. And I gave this, I dropped the thing before about the whole cost averaging in. Now, you could do the one, which most people would think, oh, I got 300. Boom, let me just go grab 300. $300 worth of whatever crypto it is, right? And all right, cool. So are you just going to grab it and then just like have it sit on that wallet, whatever company it was that you bought it on, and just have it sit there? Or are you going to grab it and then like move it onto your own personal wallet that you have the keys to? Are you going to try to like ride the price up, and then when it hits a certain point, you're going to sell off and take some profit? Are you going to see the price drop a little bit? Might drop 5%, 10%. I don't know. It could really move so crazy. You have no idea. And then get scared and then be like, all right, well, I had 300 when I started this out a week ago, and now it's 275. I got to get out. I don't know. Possible recommendation? You could take $100 every week and be like, okay, I'm gonna do $100 on Friday at this time on an app that would allow you to, again, whether it was the Coinbase, whether it was the Cash App. I'm not recommending Robinhood or Webull because of what I said earlier, and just do the $100, right? Or better yet, and this is like more like cost averaging in is a very long-term strategy. And when I say long-term, I'm not talking like a month, right? I'm talking like the 5+ going into years, 5+ months going into years, all right? So for example, do you have an exit idea of what it would be like if you were like, all right, well, I dropped in 300 at one point. If it makes it up to 600, I'm gonna sell. But what happened if it gets in to, let's say, 550, and then it just like plateaus and sidelines for 8 months? What do? It's done that before. It's climb, and then just whoop, that's it. And it does that for months. And then people just sit there and like, oh, it's not doing nothing. I need it to go up more. Like, if you're in it to chase the bag, I would say don't be afraid to do a little bit. Like, all right, let me just drop this 50 in, but go do the research side of it. Go understand like more about how the long run play. Book recommendation. Here we go. There's a book called Bitcoin in Black America. I would argue it's one of the easier books to read and get through. It's by one of my homeboys out of one of the Carolinas, Bitcoin Zay, aka Isaiah Jackson. All right. And I would say that's one of the easier books to read. If you want to get more, who would I say? All right. I'm going to say I don't do price talk. So I can't give you, quote, investor advice because I don't do price talk. And that's not my particular area. I talk about like the cultural nuances. I deal in branding. I deal in the NFT part of the space. I deal in that side of the space. That's what I deal with in my company. Right. I can point you in the direction of people who are more about the price talk, about TA, FA. So TA is technical analysis. FA is not physical. It's another analysis, basically. And there are a number of people out there that are more geared and focused in that particular part of the space. Again, I've been in long enough to say I know some things, but I also know enough to go, I'm not a trader. My approach to this space, like, I came in for the money. I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard about the Bitcoin thing and, oh, wow, I was gonna do this. And then when it actually started doing stuff, I was like, oh, wow, like, get out of here. It really did go up that high. But I also learned that I'm more a tech guy. Like, I really look to understand, like, how does this tech part work? What is the bigger picture? How does it connect in with other things? If you're not a tech person, I wouldn't be the ideal person for you. If you're interested, again, in the more trader side of it, I would say look up like Bitcoin Zay. There's another guy, Chicago Crypto Bully, Crypto and Culture. Oh my God, I can't remember this lady's name right now. There's another lady, Wendy O, like Wendy O. Who else am I thinking of? Crypto Blood. Who else? Oh, another book and video person, Andreas Antonopoulos. Even if you don't care for the tech side of it, he's very good at breaking down the technical aspects of the space and putting them into more relatable contexts. He has another bunch of books that talk about things going on in the space. He's also not a price talk person, but he does do a very good job at breaking down X amount of the technical aspects of what's going on in the space. So you can better understand, like, well, why is it that, like, so you heard me say, as far as the elevator pitch, like, the technology is here to stay, right? I have my level of understanding as to why I think that. I think Andreas does a better job of explaining it. And I also think that Isaiah Jackson, who is the Bitcoin and Black America author, he does a very good practical breakdown of explaining why getting involved in the space is important. And again, I didn't say this to start, but you don't just have to let me go and, work whatever my job is and then try to buy my way in to crypto. Like, if you're a mechanic, if you're a dog walker, if you're a baker, if you're a nurse, you can do things as far as what you already do and then just find someone who'll be willing to pay in crypto, right? There's a number of job boards out there now. One of the ones that I deal with and that I do some campaigning stuff for them is cryptojobslist.com. Who's the other one? God, I can't remember the name of the guy right now. What is it? Pomp Jobs. I can't remember the name for the other job board, but Crypto Jobs List. One of the things I try to tell people is that even though this whole crypto thing is technology heavy, it doesn't mean you have to be a coder. It doesn't mean you have to be a technical person to be involved in the space. Why? Because at the end of the day, these businesses and these companies that are looking to start in this new industry we call the blockchain industry or the crypto space, they need the HR person. They need the program director. They need the accounting person. They need the graphic designer. You know what I'm saying? They need the community manager. They need the person who manages the support team. These businesses don't work on magic alone. They work on people who have skill sets from traditional work businesses. And again, just because you might not be, a certified CPA person, or you might not have a degree in computer engineering or something, it doesn't mean what you already do now, you can't find someone who'd be willing to pay for those services in crypto. Like, it really happens all the time, more than people would think. And I mean, from being a remote manager to not a remote manager, a community manager to being like the head of a marketing department, like those are the non-technical jobs. But I will say you do need to have, excuse me, some level of understanding about the space though, because this community at core is not the general everyday person. And so there are some things that do cross over, but there are some nuances and there are subcultures that it doesn't work the same way for traditional marketing. Accounting, different story. If you're a compliance person, if you're dealing in the banking side, like I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people who were involved in financial services and was like, all right, I'm going to go work for this startup. You know, I got a homegirl who, where she live now? I can't remember if she's in Canada or she moved overseas, but she's in the marketing side of stuff and she works for companies, and you get, you know, you might be getting paid solely in crypto, or you might get a combination of fiat and crypto. You know, like the space is becoming, quote, more normalized now. It's not just let's say all of the hype that we had in that like 2016 into the 2018 period of where, you know, people were just copying code and starting companies and had no idea on how to run them. Now, you know, especially if you're in the States and you're on the American jurisdiction and you're doing something that involves money, the SEC is on you, FinCEN is on you, the JOD is on you. And, you know, it's a different ball game now, but there are ways for people to get in. And like I said before, like the amount of information that is available now compared to when I first got in, like I try to convey this to people who like just came in like 21 or who came in the summer of 2020 during COVID. It's a whole different ball game now. And like Chap was talking earlier with like going into Royal Farms and seeing the crypto ATM next to the regular ATM. There's some Royal Farms that you go into now where it's one and the same ATM. And that's not like a new thing, but Royal Farms making that partnership with the company that is actually running the exchange and the software side of it, that I think happened maybe in the last year or so like that. But there's at least like, I want to say 15 companies, probably 20 companies in the US alone. I'm talking about in the US alone. And there's probably 4 companies that dominate the market from East Coast to West Coast when it comes to crypto ATMs. CoinFlip, CoinSource, oh man, I can't remember the name for this company right now. But CoinFlip and CoinSource are 2 of the bigger companies in the US. There are other companies that exist in like Europe, that are in Latin America. The point of why I'm throwing all of this stuff out there, and again, stop me and say, hey, what does that mean? Or like, you know, you need to like step back, repeat something again. I'm okay with it. Is that the technology is here to stay, and there are definitely different aspects of your life that will be affected by this technology.
So I actually had a question. I heard you say that you work in NFT, and a few shows ago, I was trying to explain exactly what NFTs are and how they differ or compare to some of the other cryptocurrencies. So can you talk a little bit about that?
All right. So, all right. Think of a tree. And let's say this is a redwood tree. A redwood tree is a very huge tree. It has a wide main trunk, right? That is blockchain. Okay. And blockchain is basically a technology that is really about data storage. And this particular new new way, because blockchain technology is not as new as like most folks think, but besides the point, is that this is about data storage, right? So the trunk is the blockchain. It's a new form of data storage. And when you get off to the branches, these are different use cases, right? So you can use blockchain technology in logistics. You can use blockchain technology in financial services. You can use blockchain technology in voting systems. You can use blockchain technology in digital identity, right? Those are 4 different use cases. So now, we're off into the different branches, right? Now we get off into the smaller parts of the branch, and then we get into more specific use cases. In the case of what an NFT is just an advancement in using blockchain technology. Again, this is all about data storage, okay? So NFTs stand for non-fungible token. What that means is if I have $1 and Desan has $1, these are fungible, because if I give him the $1 that I have and he gives me the $1 he has, I can still walk to the store and spend that $1 on something. Granted, stuff is going crazy as far as prices and purchasing power in the stores nowadays, but the dollars are fungible, which means they're interchangeable, okay? Non-fungible means they are not interchangeable. So for example, if I walk into a car sales place and I say, oh man, I want that red Toyota right there, right? It's right next to another red Toyota that's a 2021. Now, I buy the one that I see, and then I drive off, and I come back 2 days later, and I'm like, hey, I want to bring back this red Toyota that I got that's a 2021 for that other red Toyota right there. They're going to be like, nah. You can't just change like that. They're not fungible. That red Toyota that I drove off with is now not equal to that other one. Now, there's other reasons behind why, but the point is that I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to give you back this 2021 red Toyota for that 2021 red Toyota. They're not fungible anymore. NFTs are a technology that now allow us to be able to take digital things, right? So things within the digital space, right? So all right, an example of music. NFTs, like blockchain, have use cases. Music is a use case for NFTs. And let me kind of break down what the NFT part is. NFTs were a technology based off of the Ethereum blockchain. Generally speaking, that is where it started at. As far as that was the first blockchain that had this feature called smart contracts. And these smart contracts allow you to do things in an automated sense of where if I put certain rules into what is called a smart contract, was really just a software, it will do things without me having to constantly come back and like enter in something. So case in point, if I go to a vending machine, the vending machine in comparison to going to the store has the cash register there with the cashier. I have to pull the money out my pocket after I went and got the item and walk over to the cashier and go, here's the money. They scan it and then they give it back to me, right? And then I walk out the store with what I got. When I go to the vending machine, I press A3, I get the Snicker bar after I put the money in, and then I walk out, right? The difference in process is that there's X amount of more work that is involved and there's more human interaction, right? I had to go walk down the aisle and grab the item. I had to give the money to the cashier and the cashier had to scan the item and then give the item back to me, right? As opposed to the vending machine, it was right there. All I did was put in the A3. I got the Snickers bar after I put the money in, right? It took out X amount of the work and it reduced the amount of human interaction that was involved. That's what smart contracts basically do. Again, this is all based on data storage because I put certain things into the code that says, hey, if this parameter is met, then do this. So if A, then B, right? Now, where NFTs come in, NFTs are basically a receipt, a digital receipt. So let me put this in context. NFTs are a receipt in that if I make digital content, if I make a song, if I make a picture, if I make a contract, like I bought something like a house, right? The smart contract says, hey, there was a purchase by this crypto wallet, and there's this item that is being described this way in this smart contract. And that wallet is the owner and has control over this digital item or this item that is being, we're going to say, tagged in the smart contract. So, because most people think, oh, well, you can do NFT music. It's not that you're taking the song and you're putting it in the contract. That's not what's happening. It's not that you're painting the picture or you're doing your digital version of the artwork and then you're putting it in the contract. That's not what's happening. I will say this. As far as the technology is concerned, we're not at that level of innovation yet. But for where we are right now, you're not actually putting the song in the contract. You're not actually putting the artwork in the contract. What you're doing is you're uploading that content to a server, whether it be a private server or a public server. You're getting a, depending on how you do it, you're getting some kind of ID, and then you're taking the ID and then you're putting that in the smart contract, right? So now when someone looks online and sees the NFT song, what they're really seeing is there's a smart contract on the back end that says this wallet, because you need crypto wallets, what are also called Web3 wallets, in order to be able to buy things like NFTs, right? And so it's saying that this wallet made a purchase and moved X amount of financial monetary asset from A to B. And when you look further down in it, it goes, hey, there is a address or there is a pointer that says that item, if you want to look at it or if you want to listen to the content, it's over there. That's what's actually going on the back end. Again, like, this is just the innovation evolution of blockchain technology at base. We found another thing that we could do, and then it gives us a newer level of use cases and options of what we can do with the technology. Again,
so really quick, when the pointer is pointing to the object, is it like a unique ID? Is it a unique pointer, or can it be multiple of the same one? Because it's a digital item, but it's a pointer. So it sounds like each point would be unique. But I don't know. I'm trying to understand the link between the pointer and the actual item. So if I have digital content and Day-Sun are like, hey, I have some coins that I can use on crypto and I want to buy your thing, do I have to upload it twice, or can I use the same pointer to give you guys, for the exchange, right?
Okay. So, all right. As far as the purchase goes, again, you have what are called Web3 wallets. MetaMask is a Web3 wallet. Trust Wallet is, a Web3 wallet. Who's another one? SafePal is a Web3 wallet. And when I say Web3, it means that you're also able to search Web 3.0, and you're able to store, or at least have access to your NFTs, right? And so they work as regular crypto wallets, and they work as being able to hold NFTs, right? And what this basically means is, say again?
What is one of those wallets again?
MetaMask.
Take notes. I feel like I should take notes.
MetaMask is one. And then Trust Wallet is a Binance. We say Binance Wallet. Well, Binance owns Trust Wallet, but they definitely making moves on the new era of crypto wallets, because they have the Web3 access. They have the ability to, I don't want to say store, because it's not that you're storing. Okay, so let me jump back one. When it comes to the wallets, right? Any crypto wallet, it's not that.
Is the wallet like a ledger?
Yes.
So it looks like it's a software. We have to download it. It's not necessarily an app, is it? It's the software.
Well, I mean, an app is a software. So,
but can I download that on my phone? Like, you can't get it from the App Store, can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. I want to run on that. Okay. Do you say Quita?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to bring context to what you just said.
Okay.
Like I said, at the end of the day, blockchain technology is about data storage. A ledger is the most analog, old school data storage that you can ever have. Okay. As far as there's a column A and a column B. Blockchain is the new digital version of that says, all right, we're going to digitally track how you move something from column A to column B. But there's another thing about how it's organized, right? Not going to get into that part of it. But the thing with the wallets is that the wallets, now when we think of wallets that, you know, you have your purse and you have your money inside your purse and you have your cards in your purse and stuff like that. When we talk about crypto wallets are not actually holding your crypto, your tokens, or your NFTs. What they're doing is they have access, because they have your private keys that gives access to you to be able to look at the blockchain ledger and go, okay, I'm such and such. I have X amount in my column A. I'm gonna send $10 worth to Desan, and Desan might send $2 worth to you, right? The wallet is just letting you look at what's going on as far as it moving from column A to column B. The wallet does not actually hold your crypto. The wallet holds your private key that allows you to go onto the blockchain and look at what's going on with your stuff.
Yeah, it's almost like, in layman's terms, a password.
Yes. Yes. The wallet holds your password. And the password is what you use to, when you look in, like when you open up a wallet, a crypto wallet, similar to when you look on Robinhood and you see the stocks that you have, right? But there's not the same kind of, it's not the same technology as far as the blockchain side of it, but you do need, like, if you set up your password to open up your Robinhood or Coinbase app, you're looking at what they're seeing in their system that the app gives you access to. It's the same thing with the crypto wallets. but
Right.
there's a private key that is not the same thing as your PIN code. It's not that at all. Okay. But that gives you access to be able to look onto the blockchain and go, oh, okay, that's how much I got on Bitcoin. That's how much I got Ethereum. Okay, that's how much I got Tezos. And you can, the other thing about it is you can have multiple wallets. You don't have to stick with one wallet. I really feel like Americans in particular have a thing, and part I understand why we think this way, as far as like, well, oh, I have one bank that I deal with. I've always dealt with them for blah 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 amount of years. Generally speaking,
No, you're right. I'm different. I have to hide money for myself because if I see it, it's gonna be spent. So I got money
Put all your eggs in the same basket.
Wells Fargo, MeQ, Black Bank. My money is all over. Just so I don't always see it.
Same basket.
I imagine it all, but on average, when you talk to most American folks, they only have one bank account.
We had it forever.
Well, I only mess with that bank because my mom's got the account for me, or like my granddad had it. And like there's that whole thing of that. But when you go outside of the U.S., it's a whole different ball game. And I will also say, when you deal with people who are dealing with a certain money status, they move very different than the average regular retail level person when it comes to banking and financial stuff. But when you go outside of the US, the average Joe, you go into like Brazil, Costa Rica, you go over into like Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, you go into Eastern Europe, the average person is dealing with more than one bank.
Yeah.
And I would say it's not even when you go out of the U.S., like people in Maryland. I know my grandparents had M&T for a long time, and when they went out of state, there was no M&T bank.
Yep. So you had to go hit the bank and then take X amount of the cash with you.
That's a really good point. Go ahead, Trap.
It's just so interesting to see the cultural nuances, and then how the technology, to a degree, is influencing and changing our behaviors on stuff. And the bottom line, as far as this technology thing goes, when it comes to this blockchain crypto stuff, is that it's changing. And I don't know if evolving is the right word, but I will say it is definitely influencing how we understand storage, spending, and receiving money.
Yeah.
So case in point, right? Western Union, I forgot who they partnered with, but Western Union takes X amount for when you try to send money over to another state, another country, right?
Right.
And the whole other part of that is I gotta go to where the Western Union spot is. I gotta sign mad information out and then be like, all right, here, can you please send this money over? And I'm gonna also pay you to send X amount of this money over. And they'll say, well, our prices are what they are because of how much it costs us. All right, bet. You know what this app can do? And I got this crypto in there called Dogecoin that costs like way less than you to send X amount of money over to the Philippines, and they'll switch it out for whatever they need on their side. And it's going to cost me maybe 1/5, 1/8 of what you was going to charge me. And it was like 3 times what I was going to send through you. That's where we are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's helpful though. So Trek, if somebody like our man, Mr. Wilson, or anybody wanted to get in touch with you or get additional details, or how would you, I know you suggested the book, Bitcoin in Black America, but how could we maybe get a consultation with you or invite you to speak to a different, crowd of folks or something? How can people plug in with you?
Is
that something you do? I know you mentioned you had a business.
Yeah, so my company is Trek Smart Consulting. Again, I deal in what I call the hashtag brand echo, and so that's the branding side of stuff for companies that are related to crypto or individuals that are related to crypto. And then I also do hashtag ghost minting, which is basically like, hey, I want to expand my digital content, whether it be a company or whether it be a personality, but I don't know X, Y, and Z about this whole NFT thing, or I don't want to deal with any of the technical work. All right, cool. Here's a service fee. When it comes to the education stuff, I generally point people into X amount of the smarter people, in the direction of the smarter people I know. And I also just, for the education things, I think, and one of the reasons, again, why I kind of stay away from the educational side of things is because a number of the folks that I tend to come across are just looking at doing the trading side of it, or figuring out how to make the buck or how to get the bag. Again, I'm not a price talk person. I'm more of a tech person. And so I usually just point people in the direction of the folks that I know who are more acclimated towards that side of the space.
Okay, but first and foremost, you're telling us start with Bitcoin and Black America.
Oh, also, what is it? If you are, what is the app? Clubhouse.
Oh yeah.
Clubhouse. Like, there's a number of smart folks I know on Clubhouse. What is the name of it? The Bitcoin Millionaires. If you look for Lamar Wilson or Naja Roberts.
Okay.
She has her own OTC trading desk, and she has an education center with an ATM and everything out in California. I forgot what part of California, but you can find her on LinkedIn. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her on IG. As for me, if anybody's actually looking, it is actually Trek, just like you see it spelled there, but add a W, the number 2, and KS, and all of my stuff comes up. No hashtag needed. Just put in TREKKW, the number 2, KS, and all of my stuff comes up. If you got questions, again, I just point you into the direction of the smarter people than me. Yes. And that literally brings up all of my stuff, from the LinkedIn to the Twitter to the TikTok, IG, the whole shebang.
Awesome. Jason, did you have any other questions or anything you wanted to close up with?
Not really. I took notes.
You always got to come with your pen and paper, because y'all be dropping jewels. You know,
I kept head go down. I was like, oh, let me get a pen.
That's the tip of the iceberg, bro. That's not even, I ain't even get into DeFi, stable coins. I ain't even get into the AR, the VR part of the space. Like, I didn't even really delve into like the whole Web3 stuff.
Yeah, I was definitely sitting here like comparing it to kind of real estate. And I'm like, well, how would I know what my maximum valuable offer would be? Like, how would I equate these things? So there's a lot that I think we all need to learn, but I'm going to start. I wouldn't even waste your time. I'm going to start by reading the book, getting the basics down so that I can speak the lingo. And I think this is something we should continue to talk about, because to your point, Trap, technology is always going to be here. And if this is going to be the backbone of banking technology globally, it's something that everybody should be aware of at the very least.
So I'm not saying as far as it's only a banking thing. This is everything. Right.
It's all the things, because everything can point to a value, a service, a something different. Yeah, absolutely. And I do think somebody commented, do we think that this is like leveling the playing field? And I absolutely do think it levels the playing field in so many ways, because to your point, Trex, people don't have to go to places anymore. You can get everything popping off your phone, and that
yes,
that is limiting to so many people that don't get outside of their own city, their own town, their own neighborhood. But now it's like you got the whole world in your hand. So this is really cool. Thank you for joining us today. This was great.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know where Chap went, but we'll be back next Monday at 7. Thanks again, Trek, and we will be in touch. We're going to definitely invite you back.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Later.